So, the condo stats are in.
Hi, welcome back to another Coffee with Coleman, where we love to discuss Washington, D.C., business, real estate, all that good stuff. My name is John Coleman, and I'm a real estate agent here in Washington, D.C. with the Jason Martin Group. If you've ever thought about buying a condo, go ahead and just hit that like button. Let me know that you're here. And if you are finding this information about DC and about home buying and about real estate relevant to you and your life, then hit subscribe. I release new videos each week to help you understand what's going on in our awesome city. So my intro wasn't just clickbaity. Like, I got this email with this info and I was like, oh my God, this is some interesting stuff. And this is something that I think people need to hear and know about, especially with regards to the condo market. My goal today isn't to tell you whether it's a good time to buy or whether it's a bad time to buy or sell or whatever you're gonna do. It's to give you the data and to help you understand the pros and the cons of what we're seeing out there right now in this market and how you can maybe even take advantage of it.
Stay tuned till the end because I'll tell you what you really need to know.
As for the data, well, big props to Arla Real Estate, my brokerage. They're the ones that actually supplied this over to me. And I pretty much just dropped my phone when I saw it. And I thought that it's something that you guys need to know about too. And so there's really 4 main data points that I'm gonna cover, even though there's more. If you click the link below, you can download the full report. It's got my contact information in there. And you can try to understand what's going on with me as we're dissecting this information from September of 2021. And as a housekeeping note, I want to let you know that the data actually lies for condos that are between 2 and 8. That's the vast majority of condos that sell in DC. That's when you're going to have the largest size of people looking around. So I think it's a pretty good indicator of where that market is. And it's really where a lot of those first-time home buyers are. So I wanted to share those as a starting point. So graphic 1, pretty straightforward. What I'm really looking at here is comparing the data from September of 2020 to September of 2021. And what we're seeing is that inventory is up 8.7%. Awesome. Buyers have a little bit more to choose from. It was pretty tight on inventory last year, so having more options can be a good thing. Graphic 2 talks about new pendings, and these are for pendings in comparison of September of 2020 to this year of September of 2021. New pendings is down over 21%. So there's a far less number of properties that are going under contract as compared to what was happening last year. And the thing to think about is we have more inventory coming out too. So more inventory, less things are going under contract. Okay, well, how about sales? Well, according to this graph, closed sales, and this is really for August, but because that's when it went under contract and then it actually closes in September. But according to this, what we're seeing is that closings from 2021 in comparison to 2020 are actually down over 27%. So more inventory, less going under contract, even less actually closing. So these are all data points telling us that the market is probably shifting a little bit. But how much? And that's when we get to this data point. And what this data point says is that the average sales price is down by over 10%. So year over year, last September to this September. Now, there can be things that fluctuate. Maybe it's just cheaper places that are selling. It's hard to know for certain, but that is some data that we're going to need, and we're gonna need to dissect it. And the reality is we're out there with tons of condo buyers right now, and we're seeing it. We're seeing more opportunities for people to get closing help. We're seeing more opportunities for people that are using programs like HPAP and EHAP that usually are pushed to the side, especially in multiple offer situations, getting their offers accepted because they're the best option on the table. So there could be some very interesting opportunities for people looking to buy condos at a cheaper price than they have in the past. Now, naturally, one of the things that people are going to worry about and ask about is, what does it look like? Like, what if I buy now and it continues to go down? And that is a risk. It could continue to go down. You could buy and it could slide down further. Or we get to the spring, and the market starts to pick itself back up. People are actually coming back to the city because businesses maybe start opening up and having you come back in the office at a higher capacity. And maybe the market kind of normalizes at that point. You might remember back to my last video of our market update when we talked about that was the pivotal point. And I started getting a little bit more nervous because at one point it seemed like everyone was going to come back in the fall and DC was going to try to get back to normal. Well, businesses started saying you don't necessarily have to come to the office still because we were dealing with the Delta COVID variant. And with the Delta COVID variant, that put a little bit of a skew in there. Now, restaurants and bars and things downtown are still open to a higher capacity, but probably still not to the level that we were used to, or definitely still not up to the level we were used to pre-pandemic. So what does this mean for a seller? Well, you're probably a little bit bummed. If you wanted to sell your property now versus last year, there's a high likelihood that you might be selling it for a little bit less right now than you would last year. That doesn't mean it won't go up. And every situation is different. So that's why we would need to have a conversation before you jump to that conclusion. But if you want to look at the data, this is what the data has been saying. And what we're really looking at if you're looking to sell is that if you're coming on, it's less about paying attention to the comps, especially from earlier this year. It was a different market. Things were moving a little bit more fluid. You're now looking at more of comparing yourself to what's on the market. You want to be the best in your price bracket and you want to price strategically so a buyer that's out there finds your place and wants it and goes after it. So it's less about pushing the envelope and more about trying to get someone in there. I don't want to say finds a deal in your place, but finds a value in it where they'd be excited to go after your property versus your neighbor's property. So what do you do with this information? Well, if you're a buyer, well, we should have a talk because right now might be a really good opportunity to negotiate a deal that you haven't been able to negotiate in the past. And if you're looking at interest rates, there's still a high probability and just pretty much likely that the interest rates are going to go up next year in combating of some of the inflation that we've been seeing. If you're a seller, well, we need to assess your specific scenario. So let's go ahead and have a conversation about what your market looks like, what your building looks like, and we can help put in a true evaluation of what it could sell for in this market and help set those realistic expectations of what you should be looking for. So that's what I had today. Do you have questions? Go ahead and put in the comments below. Again, if you want to download the guide of the data that I have available, go ahead and click the link below. You'll be able to have full access to it. And let me know if you have comments and questions. I'd love to hear them. All right, well, I hope to hear from you guys. My contact information is below. I love that you're here. I can't wait to see you next week. Thanks for stopping by another Coffee with Coleman. Peace.